Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is The Jeff Crilley Show. On this episode of The Jeff Crilley Show, we're going to be talking about data, and data has never been more important to companies around the globe. It's really the lifeblood of the company. To talk about that, a man who knows a little something about that, Kevin Campbell, he's the CEO of Syniti. Kevin, thanks for being on the show.
Jeff, thanks for having me. It's a real pleasure.
Yes, well, Sanity is really making a name for itself in the data world as a management company. Tell us a little history about Sanity before we get into questions about the pandemic.
Sure. Syniti was founded 23 years ago by a husband and wife team. And the husband basically figured out that data was going to be important in the world. And, he decided to start a company that was focused solely on data and a little at that time, an area that was neglected by a lot of people. And the company's really grown up from there. We're in what we call the third era of the company. The second era was a movement to the founders sold to a private equity firm, and they brought in a professional CEO. He's who hired me a couple years ago, and then I became CEO, and that's what we call the third generation. We were named back office, and we renamed ourselves Syniti.
Yes, and that PE firm is Bridge Growth Partners, a very prestigious firm in New York. What is your role as CEO, and what do they ask of you?
Yeah, Bridge Growth is really a partner with us in the business. And they believe that the data space is one that has huge potential. Data, as you said before, is critically important. People say it's the new oil. You need it for everything. And what people can do and companies can do with data is unlimited. And that's where Syniti comes from, actually. The synergy between data and business gives you infinite potential. So Syniti and then infinite potential gives you Syniti. So what do they want me to do? They want me to maximize our potential and to grow the company. And so our focus is on helping customers with their data and continuing to bring them solutions that can innovate along the way.
Absolutely. And of course, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We're getting hit by another wave as we speak, and the country's beginning to shut down again. That means you have millions and millions of people working from home. What are the challenges and opportunities for a company like Syniti when you have so many people working from home?
We're fortunate, Jeff, in that a core group of our people always worked from home. The consulting business has always been a mix of on the road and traveling. There's none of that right now, but also working from home. So we had some basics, and we had all the tools and the technology infrastructure in place. So that was very helpful. But parts of our company never worked from home. And then overnight, we were able to then pivot to have them work from home. Basically, we took the people that were used to working from home, knew how to do it, what the tools they needed, and we had them teach the people that hadn't worked from home, hey, these are the tools. And then we've all learned together, right? Because never in a period of time have we spent so much time not together. And so we've had to adapt our ways of working. We can be on Zoom all day or some other Skype or something else. And, that's not the same as a human interaction. So how do you get those informal chats, those informal discussions? So little things that I personally do is, I have a coffee chat rotating with 25 different people in the company twice a week. And we just talk about how things are going in their life, right? And we really get a chance to, refresh ourselves around the world and spend a little time just understanding how we're doing personally. Because from a personal perspective, this has been a challenge, right? People have got child care, they've got parent care, they've got dogs barking, they've got cats meowing, and we've got to all do that while we keep working at the same time.
Yes. And you and I were talking off the air a couple of weeks ago about the idea that with the economy the way it is, you're probably going to have a lot of mergers and acquisitions, and you're going to have companies trying to come together. That creates some challenges for data management, doesn't it?
It does. And that's an area that we really specialize in. We've always helped people when they were doing either spinning off divisions of the company, saying, hey, I'm not going to focus on this part of the company anymore. I'm just going to focus on, one product line or two product lines. So I'm going to sell one. Then somebody else wants to buy it. In addition, there are a lot of people that are going to look coming out of this pandemic and say, hey, we can't do it alone anymore. We need to be with somebody bigger. We don't have the resources we need. We can't make it. And other people are going to look at this as a huge opportunity for them to be able to grow their businesses and say, if I add, product line B with my distribution channel, I'm going to have a great, explosive growth. And so part of the core of all that is bringing the data together, right, between those companies, moving it from one company to the other, and then integrating it with the other company. And the core of all of that is data, right? And the old phrase, garbage in, garbage out, applies with data. So unless you have good, clean data, you're not going to be able to take advantage of what you have out there and the potential in the marketplace for you.
So as the CEO of Sanity, you always have to plan for the future. I'll ask you to look into your crystal ball. Mine is kind of cloudy right now. I mean, what kind of recovery do you see? Is it a V shape? Is it a Nike swoosh? What are you predicting?
Right now, my best information and the discussions with people that I count on for advice tell me it's a Nike swoosh type recovery. I've heard some people, and I'm excited for them, to say, hey, they saw a quick uptick. But most people believe that this is going to take us some 12 to 18, maybe even 24 months to come out of this. And so that means you got to plan for it. It's not going to be over quick. You got to plan for it smartly. You got to plan for it as if it's going to take amount of time to be able to do that. And we're fortunate at Syniti to have software solutions and outstanding people that will help propel us with the solutions we have today and continuing to innovate.
Yes, and I know that you've become the guy that the media turns to. This past week, I know you've done a dozen interviews or so talking about security issues that are created when you have so many employees working from home. Can you just give my audience some advice if you're working from home? I mean, these emails can be kind of tricky these days to spot what's real and what's phishing.
You're exactly right, Jeff. And unfortunately, the bad guys have time to sit at home and get better at what they're doing, and they've generally continued to get better. And so, one of the things, it comes back down to the fundamentals, right? So security and data security is all about the fundamentals. So strong password protection. And when you're working from home and spending more time on your computer, separate your personal and your business passwords, have complex passwords, change those passwords frequently. And when you get an email, if it's not from somebody that you know personally, go hover over the link on the email. And many times you'll find the name that it says in the email and the link are two different things. Today, they can even mask the Microsoft or Apple or Twitter or any other major company and make it look like you got an email from them saying, hey, you got a voicemail. Hey, there's a virus on your computer. You click on the link, and then they've got your password, they get your address book, and they send it everywhere. So that determining those threats, and the best thing you can do as an individual is to be super, super cautious right now on clicking on any links from anybody you don't know. If in doubt, delete it. Or if you're fortunate enough to have an IT security department, send it to them and have them check it out for you.
You know, one of my favorite quotes is Wayne Gretzky, the hockey great, was asked one time, why are you such a great hockey player? And he famously said, it's easy. Everybody else is skating to the puck. I'm skating to where the puck is going to be. I know you're well known for looking into the future and looking at business trends and adjusting. With COVID-19 and all of the things that we thought we knew kind of out the window, what are you forecasting, and how can Sanity position itself to be a part of that?
I think it's a great question, Jeff, and one that we spend a lot of time thinking about. And, we already talked about mergers and acquisitions, so I think there's going to be a lot of combinations. And so we need to figure out how we can be most helpful to companies during that time. In addition, they're going to integrate sources of data from everywhere, because we're being overloaded with all the data that's coming in. And then being able to decide what's the important data and what's the trusted data, so that when you produce a report that says, I want to know how many widgets we produced, which is a simple one, or I want to know, what's the economy doing compared to what I'm doing. How do I know which data to trust, and then which data to pick, and which is the one that I can trust and believe on? So analytics continues to be important. And I think as we go forward and industries merge, change, I think that being able to be super analytical with the data you have and marrying that with maybe some of your own instincts and gut is going to be absolutely critical. So we see a great future in building trusted, clean data that people can then use for analytics.
Outstanding. Kevin Campbell, CEO of Sanity, thank you for coming on the show. We're going to put the website up at sanity.com. It's there on your screen. Once again, Kevin, thank you for coming on.
Hey, Jeff, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.